Welcome, everyone. I hope you all are having a good week. I've been saying hello as folks have been coming in, but in case we haven't met before, I am Kristen Fouts. I serve the organization as Director of Education and Chapter Development. Very excited to have you here tonight for our first monthly officer webinar of 2025. We take January off. January is busy enough with all of our programming. So this is our first of 3 for this semester. So I will give a sort of a teaser for the other 2, although you can find all the information on our website. But I'll share a little bit more about the other 2 programs at the end of this one. So today, let me go ahead and share my screen. Today we are going to be talking about Plaid, which is our LMS, and I will explain what an LMS is as well. Hopefully you can all see that. But I wanted to do this particular session because we are really trying to increase use of the LMS, of the Plaid system. And so some of your chapters that you're represented here tonight already use it to some degree, but I wanted to really kind of share the message and kind of walk you through the platform, help you understand how to log in, how to find content, all of that, but then also explain how you can be involved in the evolution and sort of growth of the content that we have in the platform. So we will cover all of those things. So as sort of an overview, so tonight I will define what an LMS is, why we have one, what the benefit of having an LMS is or having access to one. I will tell you what or who Plaid is. Plaid is the provider of the LMS. So I'll kind of introduce you to Plaid a little bit. And then I will share my screen. I will walk you through the platform, again, start to finish. So logging in all the way through finding content and also talk a little bit about reporting. It's also easy to track use of the system, and I can kind of share with you what that looks like on our side. Obviously also easy to request content. I'll share that with you, or some information with you about that as well. Certainly answer any questions that you might have, and then just wrap up with some of those important final notes. So if you have questions, feel free to raise your hand or just unmute and ask. No problem there either way. All right, so first let's talk about what an LMS is. So an LMS stands for Learning Management System. A lot of companies, corporations, institutions across industries, and a lot of fraternal organizations utilize an LMS. It is literally just a sort of a repository of digital information and resources. We use it to host digital content, some that's created by Plaid, some that we have created, and then a lot of just like PDF resources, sort of static content, as well as, again, the dynamic content, which is more of the classes, the online courses and modules that you can complete. The nice thing about an LMS is that it is available 24/7. So let's say you're planning a philanthropy event, you have a great idea for one at midnight, you can log into the LMS and find some helpful resources related to planning that philanthropy event. Maybe you need some resources related to risk management or even some of our heritage programs. All of it is available 24/7 on demand whenever you need access to it. And it's easy to access through myZBT. So really all LMS platforms allow the administrator, sometimes also the end user, to be able to track progress of any of the content in the platform, track user progress, enrollments, etc. The nice thing about our LMS through Plaid is that it integrates pretty seamlessly with our database, which is Salesforce or ChapterSpot. You might hear us use those 2 terms at different points. So what that means for you and for us is that whenever you enroll in or complete a course in the LMS, in Plaid, that automatically gets tagged to your profile in myZBT. So we have sort of a big vision for how we want to utilize all of that data and be able to share all of that data with you whenever you might ask for it. We're still working through the process of kind of creating that transcript, so to speak. But our vision is that at some point say you're looking for a job, and you want to be able to show, a future employer, sort of your portfolio of leadership development courses that you have taken, or event planning experience, et cetera. We will be able to pull that transcript of your experiences or your completions in the LMS and be able to share that with you, so that you can share as evidence of learning that you've completed and sort of self-paced training that you've done over the course of your undergraduate ZBT career. So we are building that out, and hope to be able to roll that out, in the not too distant future. But of course, the quality of your experience, depends on the quality of our content, right? So, and again, later in the program tonight, I will tell you a little bit more about how we are designing content, and again, taking your feedback to make sure that what we do have in Plaid is as useful and timely and meaningful, as it possibly can be, for your benefit. So let me introduce you to Plaid. So Plaid is an organizational training and development firm. It has strong sort of individual or human ties to the fraternity and sorority industry. What I mean by that is that quite literally, most of the staff of Plaid, have worked at a fraternity or sorority headquarters, have volunteered with fraternity and sorority, national organizations, have some connection to higher ed, to student affairs, to this industry that we are in. So what that means for us and for you is that they have a really strong understanding of what, not only what content, students like you and advisors like, many of you have, what you need. So they also develop out some content, but they also understand how we need to use, or how we need to have the LMS structured so that it's, easy for you to use. So Plaid also designs curriculum. They design educational programs, and digital courses. So some of the courses that you might have either taken or have seen in the system before that they have created include Tightrope and Highwire. So Tightrope, you might be familiar, that's the program that all new initiates are supposed to complete within the term in which they join. Highwire is so Tightrope is primarily a risk management, course, digital course. Highwire is sort of the high level overview version of Tightrope, and all newly elected chapter officers are supposed to complete Highwire. So assuming that there's a bit of time between when you complete Tightrope and when you become a chapter officer, Highwire is just kind of that high level overview refresher of the Tightrope content. They also have a chapter advisor training program that we strongly encourage all chapter advisors, regardless of the length of their tenure, how long they've been an advisor. We encourage them to complete that course. They also have a course called Above Board for Student Leaders, which we are starting to kind of encourage more use of. It's a great program for student leaders, not just in fraternities and sororities, but across many different types of student organizations, that talks about parliamentary procedure, talks about governance and policy development and strategic planning, sort of a variety of, what many might consider sort of higher level leadership concepts, more than just the basics of your officer role. They also have a cultural competency program, which is actually 3 courses, focused on identity development, focused on, sort of social, norms and, inclusivity. There's a bit of sort of DEI content, in the cultural competency program. Again, it's available to all chapters. We haven't formally rolled that out, or kind of, done much promotion with the cultural competency program, but it is an excellent, again, a trio, of courses that are available for you to complete if that's something that's interesting to you. Again, all of these are available in myZBT, absolutely no cost to you, and available whenever you might log into Plaid and be interested. All right. So next, let's move on to navigating the platform. So a couple things that I'm going to walk you through, and then I will stop sharing my screen and share the website instead. I will, again, kind of show you how to log into myZBT and where to find Plaid, help you understand the dashboard, which is the main sort of initial screen or web page that you will see when you log in. I will help you understand how to browse the catalog, which is essentially just the sort of all the offerings, all of the courses and resources that are offered in Plaid. I will show you how to enroll in a course or in content in there, and then also just how to open the files. So it can be daunting. There can be multiple sort of layers or areas in which there could be snags. Definitely the primary sort of area where there could be obstacles is in the logging in piece, and I'll again kind of explain that. But that's just sort of an overview of what I'll cover. So let me take just a second to stop sharing and log in. Okay. Make sure that you all can see this. Okay. So what you should be able to see now is my FSID screen. So this is similar. This is how you essentially log into myZBT. So when I log into this, it's going to take me into myZBT dashboard, which there we go. In some ways looks like yours. I have maybe a couple extra elements that you don't have and vice versa. That's just because I'm not a brother and I also have kind of connections around the fraternity and sorority industry. But when you log into myZBT, this should be the dashboard, the non-chapter specific dashboard that you see. So what we're going to do, interestingly, I'll point out, if you click on Plaid or Resource Center, it takes you to the same place. So double the opportunity to log into the right place. So again, whenever you hear us talking about Plaid, or if we reference the Resource Center, it goes to the same place. All right, so we're going to click into Plaid. This is what we call a single sign-on process. So once you log into myZBT, you should not have to re-log into Plaid. It should be a seamless, click in into Plaid or to the Resource Center. Now, I mentioned that simple process of logging into myZBT is often one of the hiccup areas that a lot of brothers encounter, and they end up reaching out to us saying, I don't see Plaid, I can't log in. The biggest culprit in that place or in that situation is that the brother hasn't completed their 6 membership steps. So they have to complete that to take them out of new initiate into active member in myZBT before they can view all of this content. So if you have a brother who, again, needs to log in or wants to log in, but can't see any of that dashboard content, first they need to finish their steps. So ideally, that's supposed to be done relatively quickly after initiation, but it's providing educational information, their like address, telephone number, all of that. The last and final step is signing the membership agreement, which is also vital in terms of their membership, obviously, in the organization. All of that. So if a brother's having trouble, most likely they need to finish their 6 steps. Once they do that, they will have full access to all of the content in Plaid and the rest of the myZBT dashboard. I will also say that all brothers, all active members in the fraternity have access to all of the same content in Plaid. So there is nothing in Plaid, even that you will see here in quote unquote my version of Plaid, that is any different than what you would see, what a new brother would see, etc. So we don't have any ritual content in here. We might someday. Obviously, then we would want to separate, any uninitiated brothers from initiated brothers seeing that content, but we're not there yet. So every brother has access to all of the content in here. So what you see here on the screen is the main dashboard for Plaid. So you can see a variety of different sort of elements on here. Again, yours might look just a little bit different since you don't have some of the administrative controls, but for all intents and purposes, you will see the enrollment section, the catalog section, and also this little support button. If you encounter trouble, maybe the system freezes up or you for some reason just can't click on, an element or a resource that's in here, feel free to reach out to me, but honestly, I would recommend that you submit a ticket. Most likely it's some sort of a tech issue on Plaid's end. So submitting a ticket is the quickest way to go. That will help them and the Plaid tech team be able to troubleshoot that issue with you and for you. Okay, so I want to show you how to browse the catalog. All of the content in Plaid is organized alphabetically through these sort of tabs. Um, there will be some here that are missing only because I've already enrolled in them and they are up in here. But again, you get the gist of kind of what the content looks like. So a couple things to highlight right off the bat. You can see here we have a tab related to the Brotherhood Development Director. You can see one here for the Communications Director. Every chapter executive board officer has a resource file dedicated to their position. Okay, every executive board officer, chapter president, comms, operations, recruitment, every position has their own resource folder or tab, bucket, whatever term you want to use in Plaid, okay? That contains resources, content specific to that position, specific to the programs, the actions, the policies, the procedures directly related to that position, okay? We also have content related to some of our philanthropic partners. This one obviously is CMN. We have general educational resources. These are digital courses. These two and high risk events are digital courses. I'll show you how to enroll in those in just a second. We also have started to divide out specific resources related to the fraternity's Jewish heritage. This is a digital course. Again, there's another tab with that exact same graphic with our heritage grant resources, which again, I'll kind of define here in a second. But again, it's all in alphabetical order. You can click through these little circles at the bottom, see even more content. Here are two of the 3 recruitment university classes that we developed, that ZBT developed and put on here. Again, other digital courses, some content from the North American Interfraternity Conference, again, officer specific content and so on. So strongly encourage that you just kind of click through, browse the catalog, see everything that's in there, and again, just kind of peruse at your own pace. You can also browse by clicking on the drop-down box and finding content that you might be interested in. Again, that's one way to search or to browse. I will issue a bit of a caveat. The search bar for me and for quite a number of other people has always been glitchy. That is not a ZBT thing, and Plaid has indicated that they're aware of it. Hopefully it's something that they're working on. But hopefully you can see that it's also just pretty easy to click through the content that we do have without needing to search by a keyword. Okay, so I want to kind of show you how to view or how to enroll in some of this content. In order to fully view any content related to one of these tabs or buckets, you have to click the Enroll Now button. What you can also do is click on the more info, which just kind of gives you a quick overview, a little bit of detail. For instance, this, tells me about some of the resources that are in this particular bucket. But in order to fully access the content in there, you need to click Enroll Now, okay? When you click Enroll Now, it goes up into your enrollments, and I think it's in reverse order. So here's the BDD tab or button that I just clicked on. Okay, you can see that it's not started, which means that I enrolled in it, but I haven't actually opened it to view anything. So what I want to do, I'm going to click on the little, it kind of disappears when you hover over, but this blue arrow. And when it opens up, now you can see all of the content that's available, okay? So you just saw the little overview of all of this content when we clicked on more info, but now I can actually access and download all of these different resources, okay? So these are all like PDF or Word documents, sometimes Excel sheets, it depends on the resource, but all of these are files, okay? So again, to access it, all I would just need to do is download it, open it up, in however you want to, save it however you want to, just like any other file you might download, okay? So that's how you would enroll in and view content, again, related to the individual officer positions and so on. Just one second. Okay. I will now show you how to enroll in a course. So let's say we wanted to take this Dangers of Fentanyl course. This was actually developed by James R. Favor. If you look at the logo, you can kind of see a J and an R. James R. Favor is ZBT's insurance provider. We talked a little bit about James R. Favor at VOI this year. Ricky did actually. And they also have a great website with lots of resources related to fraternity insurance and risk in general. So feel free to check that out. But again, this is a course. If I click on more info, it will describe to me the core outcomes of the course, sort of the purpose of the course, what participants will learn, how long it will take. So this particular course should take me about 10 minutes to complete. And then if I go back out, then I can click enroll. Again, it will go to the bottom of my list, and then I can click on that little blue button and then launch the course. Okay, that will pull up a separate window for me to view the course or to go through the course. Okay, so very similar process. It's just the difference between a resource list and launching a course. So again, every executive board position has a resource folder. If you see here in my enrollments, again, you can see, some of the other titles that are available. Again, mostly related to individual positions, donor drive resources and donor drive training resources. These are related to gift of life and I think it's just gift of life actually, but a variety of resources related to hosting donor drives. There's the cultural competency program. Again, these are things that you will find down here in your catalog since you haven't enrolled in them already. They're just up in this section for me since I've already clicked on all of those. Advisor and volunteer training. If you have a chapter advisor, they would find useful resources in that area. Again, here's Highwire, here's Above Board. Those are the digital courses that I explained earlier. Some other Jewish culture, Jewish heritage programs and resources that we have. I'm going to click into this Jewish heritage resources for a second. We offer, if you're not familiar or even if you are, last year, ZBT staff, Ryan Wallishin, developed a dozen or more stock or sort of file informational resources related to our heritage grants. So in order to help chapters celebrate ZBT's Jewish heritage and to educate brothers and students on campus about Jewish culture, we have some funds set aside in the fraternity budget to be able to give or support financially chapter activities, programs, other experiences that they want to host on their campus related to, again, Jewish heritage. So the resources that you see in this folder are PDFs that describe what the event is. So for example, Hanukkah, it defines what Hanukkah is. It provides a couple different scenarios or different sort of examples of activities or events that you could host. It outlines what the grant could be used for. It outlines the process to apply for the grant, etc. So Ryan made it really, really easy for chapters to be able to, click on any of these, get all the information that they could really probably need to host an event related to that activity, to that celebration, that holiday, etc., and to be able to apply for funding. So we have plenty of funding, or maybe I shouldn't say plenty, but a good amount of funding available. Not a lot of chapters request heritage grants. Strongly encourage you to do that. The grant money cannot be used only for food, but it can cover food plus educational resources, maybe a speaker fee if you want to bring in an external speaker, a rental fee for a space. Maybe you want to do a program at Hillel and there's a fee, to use the space, something like that. So the grants can be used for that. So again, all of those resources are here in the Jewish Heritage Resources folder. Okay, so I just wanted to be sure to highlight that. But again, you can see we have a lot of content in Plaid, again, all available on demand. One other thing that I want to cover before I get back out and pull up my screen again is reporting. So I, as an administrator in the system, have the ability to pull completion reports and also status reports, essentially the same thing, for any chapter, um, uh, and also for any brother. So, for example, we commonly do this with chapters that are on an accountability plan. They've been issued some sort of a sanction for a violation potentially, or maybe the executive board has decided that they want all brothers to complete the above board program, right? Fantastic idea, by the way. I would strongly recommend that. But let's say again, the entire chapter, or maybe a certain group of brothers needs to complete or complete a certain course or view a certain resource. I have the ability to go into the system, set date parameters. Let's say, we want to pull completion between January 1st and tomorrow for Delta Lambda chapter, on above board. I'm on Myth. So I can set in all of those parameters, pull the Excel report, and then send that back out to you so that you know who in your chapter has completed it, who has started it but not completed it, and then just who has, outright not started it. So that's a way for you to check in on guys, kind of hold people accountable in your chapter. So whether you're doing it for an accountability plan, whether you just want to know who has completed what, high wire and tightrope are both part of the Standards of Excellence program. So if you want to know which new initiates haven't completed tightrope or which new officers haven't completed high wire, let me know and I can pull that data for you. Okay. Again, it'll come across as an Excel spreadsheet. You can tell me, the window of time, all of that, and I can send you the report. Doesn't take me more than just a couple minutes. So again, feel free to reach out at any time if you want to know how your chapter is performing on certain content. Okay. So I'll pause there. I just covered a lot of ground with regard to the dashboard, finding content, all of that. Are there any questions before I move on? Okay. If you do have questions, if you run into issues, snags, etc., again, feel free to reach out to me. If you feel like it's more of a tech issue, feel free again to submit a ticket here. So again, browse the catalog, see what's available there. Anything that you enroll in or want to, intend to review, intend to complete will be found in your enrollments. And again, you can reach out for any completion reports. Okay, so let me stop sharing this screen. Let me pull up my PowerPoint again. And let's go through a few more things. All right. So these are things that we just walked through. So let's continue on. All right, so tracking, reporting, requesting content. So as I mentioned, every enrollment is tracked in the system. Every completion is reported back to your profile in our database. If you have been a chapter officer for more than about the last, 4 or 5 months, I think, we have started sending out monthly officer resource emails with a link to, or at least some direction to, a resource found in Plaid. So we really want to increase usage of the system. And that is a good way for us to say, okay, for recruitment director in February, what is a really timely, useful resource that we have in Plaid? I am sure that it was maybe the recruitment university courses. So we send out an email to all recruitment directors on record in the month of February or at the time that we're sending out the email with either a link to a resource or a, find this title under this folder type of direction in that email. So those emails have been successful. So thank you if you are one of those that has clicked on or has gone to view one of those resources. So we went from about 124 resource downloads in December to 500 this past month. So that tells us that we're finally helping connect officers with useful content, with information that can help them be successful in their role, and that our content is good and only will be getting better in the system. So keep using Plaid, and keep feedback on those officer resource emails. We're happy to take it. We will continue doing those. A different staff member sends out an email to a different position each month. So again, if you haven't seen those coming through your inbox, check your spam folder, obviously. Also, we want to make sure that the officer roster is correct in myZBT. We pull a fresh list from the database every month. So if for some reason there's a snag, with, your officer role in myZBT, that could also be a culprit. Again, reporting is available by chapter or program, as I just mentioned. All of the content in Plaid was just audited in the last several months in 2024. So what I mean by that is that I pulled all of the content that we had at that time in Plaid, reviewed it all with other staff, identified stuff that needed to go. It was outdated, it was irrelevant. We identified anything that needed to be replaced with a more current version, and also added a variety of new content. So it should be as fresh and useful right now as it can be, but certainly could have missed something. There might be an old version of a policy or something. So if you see a date, you're curious, is this the most current? Please let me know. I feel like we did a pretty good job, but always there's room for improvement. Likewise, if you don't see a resource, if you're going in there looking for something related to, I don't know, creating a chapter budget. I know there's something in there, but let's just say finance director is like, I don't know how to set up a chapter budget. Maybe there's something in Plaid. They go in there, they look at the finance director resources folder, and they don't see anything. Please reach out to me. My email address will be at the end of the presentation. Reach out to me and say, hey, could we have a resource in Plaid about building out a chapter budget? I'll say, sure. I'll go work with Shelley Laughlin, our chief financial officer, with other staff. We will create a resource, post it in Plaid for everyone to be able to access. So even if you think that it's a very niche, a very specific resource, there absolutely might be other officers that could benefit from it, even if they aren't looking for it right at that same moment. So please let me know if there's something that could be helpful for you, something that could be helpful for your chapter. And the same would go for a course too. So courses are different, obviously a little bit more sort of intensive and more involved from a design standpoint than just a PDF, right? But we have the technology, we have the software, I have the experience in building out courses. So if you want to receive training on a particular sober monitor training, for example, that's something that a lot of chapters kind of devise themselves and present to the chapter as part of standards of excellence. If you want me to build something out that you can use, let me know. I'm happy to do that. It will take some time. I'm not going to be able to turn it around in 24 hours. But if you see a need, if you have a desire for content, whether it's a PDF or some other type of sort of, one pager or short packet of information or a course, please just let me know. That's how we're going to make sure that, again, Plaid remains useful, remains timely, remains relevant. Okay. All right. Questions before I have sort of the last slide about upcoming dates, important information, etc. What questions do you have about, or what feedback do you have about Plaid? Ricky, this is also your chance if you're available, if there's anything you want to say about Plaid or anything that I might have missed.
I don't think so. No, you covered it all. Great job.
Okay. All right. As leading into wrap up here, so a couple of things to note before we let you go. Academic scholarships through the Zeta Beta Tau Foundation are due on the 28th. Is that Friday? It's coming up quickly. Okay, thank you, Joey. Yes, Friday. We talked about the academic scholarships at VOI. We talked about them at each of our regional officer institutes. Academic scholarships, period, are obviously important to a lot of students to be able to help them afford the semester, to afford the year of college, to pay for books, to pay for fees, etc. Not all of our brothers might need academic scholarships, and that's fine, but I'm sure that you know of a brother in your chapter who could use some financial support to be able to stay in school. And of course, as brothers who care for one another, that's something that we should be sharing with them. So the QR code on that screen is a direct link to the application page. feel free to scan that to share that link with a brother. The foundation generally has a pretty healthy pot of funds to be able to allocate, and generally not a lot of applications. So the odds are good. Of course, the member still needs to qualify, still needs to put in a good effort on the application. There are also a number of scholarships that are specifically earmarked for particular chapters, for brothers from particular states, in certain major areas. So I believe that they have all the information on the ZBT Foundation website related to those. If you have questions, hey, does AWU have a scholarship for our brothers? Just let me know. I'm happy to look it up. Again, time is tight, so we don't have a lot of time to do that yet, but scan that QR code, share that link with a brother, or complete the application yourself to be considered for some financial support. Apply for heritage grants. I just walked you through where to find those, how to complete them. Again, we have a good amount of funding available for heritage grants, and not a lot of chapters yet take advantage of that. So please use or take advantage of the opportunity to get some good funding to support a program that celebrates our heritage and educates brothers or other students on your campus about Jewish culture. The new SOE packet will drop next week. The submission platform in myZBT will come sometime thereafter. It's having to be rebuilt and updated based on the new SOE process. So there might be a very small number of chapters that will already be ready to start submitting things right off the bat. Just sit tight. It shouldn't be too much longer, but obviously we want to try to work out all the kinks and and bugs that might be in the brand new platform. So the packet will be released along with some other information, and then the platform will come shortly thereafter. I'm hoping to have an estimate on that timeline from our friends at Chapter Spot soon. Finally, on behalf of our CFO, Shelley, all fees and dues from this academic year must be paid in full by March 31st. Okay, that is the absolute hard deadline for any fees, any dues that the chapter has not paid yet, that might still be outstanding, have to be paid by that date. If your chapter does not currently have a payment plan or some sort of an agreement to be able to pay back debt, contact Shelley now, tonight. Get that in place, make every effort to try to pay as much as you can, but at least work out a timeline, a process with her so that she feels confident that you will be on the right track. So again, just a couple of reminders for you about those things. Quick teaser about the March and April officer webinars as well. And you can find this again on the officer resources page on the ZBT website. The March webinar will be all about Crowd Change, which is the platform that we use with our fundraising partners for chapters to be able to raise funds digitally, virtually, instead of having to use, obviously cash, checks, etc. It is also our preferred method of collecting sort of digital payments, not Venmo, not PayPal, not other peer-to-peer programs or platforms, because there's a lot of liability related to those. So join us for the session in March about Crowd Change. We will have some representatives from Crowd Change with us to be able to share more about that process, how to set up a philanthropy event or activity in Crowd Change, how to solicit donations, etc. Super easy and often results in more fundraising or more dollars donated than if you just do it the old-fashioned way. The April webinar is all about alumni engagement. So Jonathan Levin, our Director of Alumni Engagement, will be with us for that session to talk about how to communicate with alumni, some tips and tricks for newsletters, for events, for getting alumni to give of their time and talent, as well as potentially their treasure. That's not our focus, that's the foundation's focus, but we know a lot of chapters struggle with knowing who their alumni are, how to reach out to them, current contact information, and then just getting them to actually engage. So Jonathan will be with us for that session to walk you through all of that. So look forward to seeing all of you back in March and April. Again, please reach out if you have any questions about myZBT, about Plaid, about any of the things that we covered tonight. That's my email address, as well as John Colon, who's the Associate Director of Chapter Development. Reach out to either of us. And before you log off, scan that QR code. That is our officer webinar post assessment or post survey. So scan that and complete it. That's how you will get credit for SOE for 2025. All right. Thank you all so much. Appreciate your attention. Appreciate you being here. And again, just reach out and let us know how we can support you. Okay.
Thank you
So
Kristen.
much. Yep. Have a good night.
Bye, you guys. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Bye.